I grew up on the old cartoon. You came home from school. It was the half-hour cartoon of Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
You
Is
know?
there anything better?
No.
The theme song?
Oh, can you do it for us?
Amazing Pop Culture Podcast.
We were going to do a totally different show today. I was all planned, but then we heard this sad news last minute, right before we're getting on this show. Carlos Chuck Norris, 86, has passed.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on this, because when you say icon, when you say pop culture icon, I mean, who else is there?
Well,
so I want to get your thoughts. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and I love Chuck Norris. He is kind of like a poor man's Sylvester Stallone. I would rank 3 of my iconic male actors of the 70s and 80s, and that would be Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, and let's not forget about Lee Majors.
No, why would you say poor man's? That's almost a...
Well, because Chuck Norris was very successful, but I don't think he's got the billing of a Sylvester Stallone. In my
as an actor.
As an actor, his movies, his television shows, what brought him to the forefront, of course, was his martial arts.
Correct.
What brought Sylvester Stallone to the movies is his ability to write, produce, and be an actor.
Mm.
Chuck Norris, by default, kind of became that actor when he kicked it off with...
Kicked it off. Roundhouse kick.
With Bruce Lee. And that epic
battle.
And there always was the conversation, who would win between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris? And that's kind of like unanswered because they never did it.
In real life.
In real life, they did it in the movie. And of course, Bruce Lee kills him in that epic battle. 1 minute, filmed in the Roman Coliseum illegally, by the way.
Mm. Why do you know that? I mean,
it's just little tidbits that you pick up over the
illegally. They just ran in there and did it.
They did. They didn't get any permits. They just must have found some corner where there's no tourists. And all right, let's just do it here. You know.
How about the cat? Was the cat illegal?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
We're wondering.
But there's a sadness that comes over me because he was timeless. I mean, the guy, 70s, 80s, 90s. I was a huge fan of Texas Walker Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did that for many years, and he was 86. He did a movie 2 years ago, and the guy was physically fit as much, if not even better, at 86 than he was when he was 55.
Wow.
They haven't revealed what he died of, though.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Why do people they're so obsessed of how someone died? 86 years old, led an incredibly long life, and for someone to be in the movie business, to be in Hollywood, to be in physical fitness, to make it to 86 isn't. I think it's impressive.
Well, I think the questions arise because he was so physically fit his entire life. He sold vitamins. He was always selling rowing machines, always on those infomercials, and up to the bitter end, he didn't show any signs of any sickness or anything like that. So I think that's where the questions come from.
Sure.
Now, if the guy starts 5 years ago getting memory issues and starts having some real serious medical conditions, and you say he led a wonderful life at 86.
Bruce Willis, yeah.
Bruce Willis. And you'd go, yeah, Bruce Willis, probably time, unfortunately. But Chuck Norris, the guy was timeless. I mean, he was... So when he died, you're like, wow, how did this guy die?
Is it better to burn out than fade away? As the powerful Def Leppard says.
You know, there was a great saying too, something very similar that MacArthur said. Something I wish somebody could say what it was, but nobody knew what he meant by that. I don't know.
They'll leave it in the comments.
I don't know if there's an answer to your question.
Yes.
You know, it's better to have been than never. How about that? That's what
has been than it never been.
Yeah. Never has been than never been.
Yes.
No, but sadness just kind of.
But how about, they talk about celebrating the life. Instead of the sadness, think about the greatness. 86 years.
I know, but I think as a person as iconic as him, who had such an impact on people, probably your and my age, you kind of grew up with these people. I talked about Sylvester Stallone several weeks ago, how you kind of periodically get to see a snippet of his life through his movies. So you almost feel like you're friends.
Yes.
Rocky 1, Rocky 2, it's just a continuation of a really good guy. And it's the same thing with Chuck Norris. You kind of got to check in on him. What was he up to? Just a really good, wholesome guy.
Yes.
I think Sylvester Stallone and him kind of cut from the same mold.
Yes.
For the most part.
Old school.
And when you see our heroes of yesterday, and they're still today, I mean, look at how many performers have a one-hit wonder, musicians or bands, but yet you have people like Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, not so much Lee Majors.
Clint Eastwood.
My question is this: who have replaced those big names in the movies today? Are there anybody as big? Can there be anybody as big, or is it just so saturated that not really one person sticks out?
Or diversified, yeah.
Who do you think would replace? When I say replace, I mean, who is as iconic as Chuck Norris today? What movie star sticks out?
So you're right too. There's so many more venues. There's the TikTok, the social medias, the YouTube, the Netflix, the movies. So you're right. It gets diversified, thinned out, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So later on today, we're going to talk about War Machine.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be a perfect transition. We'll talk about that. Action star.
Mm-hmm.
When you think Chuck Norris, what is the first thing you think of? Just is it a movie? Is it the TV show?
Well, I think of six-time world champion karate. He actually created his own form of karate too. And again, like I said earlier, that's what led him. He wasn't, let's face it, the best actor.
No.
But he could back it up because everybody liked to see his circus moves and the karate and everything else like that. But I ask you this question: how much of that can you watch actually? Because it's the same thing, different. I mean, all of his movies, Delta Force, Lone Wolf McQuade, kind of all the same thing, but yet people flock to that stuff. But we all know the outcome.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's the same as any action.
I know, but my question is, do you think that, oh, by the way, we were talking about this before too, and this is my ADHD. My
No,
ADHD.
we love it.
That's what a podcast is
It
about.
is.
It's
It
about
is.
ADHD.
The people that listen to this podcast know.
Do you remember how
it's about epic rants? It's about real talk.
Do you remember how we were talking about AI taking over?
Correct.
Hollywood?
Yes.
Guess who's going to do a movie and it's going to be all done by AI?
Tell us.
Val Kilmer. I just saw that yesterday. I thought, how timely was that? Because you and I talked about this. They got the approval from the family. I don't know what the movie's going to be, but Val Kilmer, they're going to bring him from the grave, put him back into some movie. And if that is hugely successful, where do you stop? You could grab every dead actor. They even did, Star Wars did it originally, if you remember. But you could grab with family approval. You know, families might say, no way. His memory is safe with us. We don't want any movies.
Until
all of a sudden they write the check.
Yeah, I was just going to say until they cut,
maybe
they cut the check.
They cut the check for him. But
the other thing is too, is they always talk about families where a lot of times these people don't have families. So it's someone 80 times removed. And it's like they're nothing to do with family, but they want all that money.
Yeah.
And they go after copyrights, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, if that is successful with Val Kilmer, which I'm assuming it will be, I mean, everybody's going to want to see this. You could do the same thing with Chuck Norris. You could really make these iconic guys live eternally.
But Val Kilmer, his range compared to Chuck Norris's range.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah. Again, we're talking a guy whose martial arts brought him to
Correct.
Hollywood.
Yes. I mean,
versus an actor.
So, I mean, nothing against Chuck Norris. In fact, that's even a greater thing because you're right. He competed, and to be able to transition and to make, you know, entertainment.
Well, Chuck Norris was a horrible actor. I mean,
no, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you're right. Val Kilmer is an actor.
Yes.
And he was a martial artist, but made action movies.
Yes. Yeah.
And the way an action movie is good is the action, I argue, is all generic. It's the characters in there that make it watchable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you know, you're going to talk about action is all the same. you're going to talk about Spider-Man Marvel movies. I mean, basically, it's the same plot, different characters. They're going to save the world from doom and gloom.
Powerful segue. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
We watched the trailer for Spider-Man, A Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it. What you saw, what you thought, and we'll get into it.
Well, you know this. I'm not big into the comic books, and I'll open myself up to criticism because there's probably a huge contingent of people that are gnashing their teeth as I say that. But I grew up on the old cartoon. You came home from school. It was the half-hour cartoon of Spider-Man.
Oh my God!
You
Is
know?
there anything better?
No.
The theme song.
Oh, can you do it for us? Thanks.
Dun, 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 dun.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh my God!
Does whatever a spider can. Is he strong? Listen, bud.
He's got radioactive blood.
But he would always walk. Dun,
Yes.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, they play the dot. Oh no! Here he comes. It didn't stop him. That's right, Spider-Man. I am coming. I'm going to destroy you.
But those are, I mean, that and Batman too. The original Batman. Too.
Yes.
It's
But Batman, if you're talking about the TV show, that was camp on purpose.
I loved it though.
Yes.
I loved it. Now it's so dark and it's like that was the brilliance with that. They're walking up the side of the apartment complex with a rope and
people
somebody
pop
opens
out the window.
People pop out the window and stuff like that. And now the new Dark Knight and whatnot. It's a dark. There's no humor.
But the Spider-Man Brand New Day. Back to that.
Yes,
we're going to steer you back to that.
Yes, I know.
Watching that, what did you think?
I think that I definitely probably will go see it. I mean, one of my favorite superheroes probably would, I like the I'm gonna call him I like Spider-Man.
Okay.
I don't like some of these offshoot characters that Marvel creates and have been in. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, you got your powerful ones. What do you think about the offshoots? Maybe a little less known.
Help me out. Like, what's one you're thinking of, or what type?
This is your world.
No, but there's something you must be thinking about because you said you didn't like it.
Doctor Who or something like that. Some crazy.
Doctor Strange. Okay.
Doctor Strange. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes. No, I got you. Yeah.
You can edit that out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think about a little less known? I mean, everybody knows Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, the Hulk.
Yeah.
That's your core. What do you think about you like all the Marvel?
What do I like personally?
Yeah.
I like street level superheroes that are beatable, that can get beat up, like Spider-Man. I don't like Thor, Superman, where they're so powerful that it's ridiculous. It's interstellar, intergalactic. They're so powerful they can move Earths. I like Spider-Man. I like Daredevil. They're normal people. Yeah, they have superpowers, but they're relatable. They're on street level. They fight street level villains. So that's my thing.
Yeah.
The Punisher, he was in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil, he's a human. He got, he got hit radioactive. He went blind. He's got senses, like Spider-Man has senses, but they're still beatable. They can still get beat up and have black eyes. And so I like street level heroes.
So you're a Street Fighter.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
You go back to the original Superman that was back in the 50s. And the villain was always just some common criminal. It wasn't like what they have now, It was just like bank robbers or people plotting against innocent people. And I like that, like you said, it's just but I mean, even that Superman doesn't need all those powers to fight just a common robber. I mean, they tie him up and stuff like that, and it has zero effect. But I guess some of these get so outlandish that you just kind of you roll your eyes. It's like I like a movie that has a little bit of realisticness to it, And some of the Marvel movies, I'm not a huge fan.
No, I get it.
Can I say that here?
That's why.
Is that allowed in this area?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
I thought you might slap me or
No.
something like that.
But that's why I wanted to get your take because, coming from me that grew up with comic books, Spider-Man was my favorite. And in this Brand New Day, they're featuring all these villains, and what they're doing, they're having homages to the actual cover. So there's a scene in the movie that's actually like the cover coming to life. So to me, that's pretty cool. Like Spider-Man's first appearance was Amazing Fantasy number 15, and he's carrying a dude and swinging. And in the trailer, they show that. There's a villain called the Tarantula, and he's attacking Spider-Man, and they show that. So in this one, it's featuring all these cool villains that you might like if you actually watch the movie. Because trailers and movies are two different things. Trailers, someone puts it all together, and can flow totally better than the movie or totally worse. So there's movies I bring up. 300. Do you remember 300?
Oh yeah.
The trailer I thought was the dumbest thing in the world. There will be so many arrows that will blot out the sun. Then we will fight in the dark. And I thought it was the dumbest thing. But when I watched that movie, I don't know what it was. It just hit me. I'm like, this is awesome, dude.
Yeah,
but the trailer I thought was ridiculous. So trailers, I don't put too much into it because it could actually be better or worse. But the reason I like Spider-Man trailer is because they had the Scorpion. They featured him. They had Punisher, which is this anti-hero that I don't know if you know about, but he's pretty cool. There's the Tarantula. There's teasers that might be Jean Grey, Phoenix from the X-Men. I love the X-Men. So it's and for Spider-Man fans, it's a big deal.
I feel like when you're talking to me, I'm like your grandma and you're teaching me how to run the remote. When you're talking this world of Marvel stuff.
The VCR is flashing 12 o'clock.
My mom used to do that all the time. John, I can't get the phone to work. Mom, you're holding the remote control. That's why. Yeah, I mean,
no, I know you're not into it. That's why I want to.
Well, it's not that I'm not into it, but everybody has their genre, and that's I like sci-fi. You can't put that down as sci-fi.
Yes.
But I saw the trailer. I'm a Spider-Man fan in general. By the way, why don't you wear a Spider-Man costume sometime?
I should.
For the podcast.
Yeah, I will.
I'd love to sit with the mask and everything.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'd actually like to be the Green Goblin. He's my favorite villain.
Why?
Spider-Man, he's my favorite. Green Goblin's my favorite.
Well, you said Green Goblin is your favorite villain. I'm saying, why is that?
Why is he my favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it goes back to that cartoon too. He's just this jester, and he's evil, and he flies around on this flying broomstick, and he has this bag of tricks. He has this like satchel, and he has like pumpkin bombs, and he's just something about him to me is awesome. And in the movie, they ruined it. I don't know if you noticed, but they always take something from the comic book and totally change it. That's what I want. AI. I want AI to take the comic book and make a movie out of it, and it won't change anything. Because they always think like, oh, people are not going to like this because, on the movie, it's like, well, they loved it in the comic book.
That's a valid point.
Yeah. Why would they? Why do you have to change the costume? Even in this new movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day, the Tarantula, they try to, like I said, match the cover. He's in a totally different costume. Like, why would you do that?
Gosh, you picked up so much more from that trailer than I did. But I think I was probably disinterested.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm nerding out. I get that.
I mean, look at me. I'm calling Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah, but
there was a Doctor Who movie or television on Channel 2. Though, so, in my defense.
But I get that. But I'm just saying, and in these movies, I think there's enough fans that you can make it totally like that. And a normal person, they don't even know better. They're not going to go, yeah, I watched that movie, but did you see how stupid the Tarantula's costume was? No one cares. The people that do care, make it for them.
How much value is there, and this could be said in general about any movie, you got a series where there's a cop series, and very rarely does one of the police officers die. How much do you think the public would like to see, and I'm not saying that I want people to be killed in movies, but how much value is there in finally maybe Spider-Man dying?
I see what you're saying. What's funny about Spider-Man, in the comic book, they did something that was unheard of. Green Goblin killed his girlfriend in the comic book, which is a big deal because comic books are usually for kids.
Yeah.
The Green Goblin knocks Spider-Man's girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, off the bridge. Spider-Man goes to save him with his webs. He hits her. He thinks he saved her, but her neck snaps.
Ooh.
So there is something to that.
But there's always, whenever there's
I mean, obviously, let's get down to it. Money wise, you're not going to kill Spider-Man, but and Green Goblin died in the book too, and in the movie, which is a huge villain, and he died.
But I think the 80s taught us a lesson.
What's that?
Remember Who Shot JR?
Yes.
and JR was dead, but then he was brought back to life. So we can bring Spider-Man back to life.
Yes.
Those like his
I
girlfriend.
mean, it's super. The death of Superman. There's this famous comic book. It was in a black poly bag. It was the death of Superman. And yes, I was dumb enough to buy one of those. I still have it in the bag.
But
I need to cut that open.
Whenever there's I watch very little TV, but whenever there's a mini series and they're promoting, and you'll never guess who was killed on this episode. It's always some token person that was never really
I
that
get
big.
I get it.
And I get it. You got the star, but would you stop watching a series on television, switching from Spider-Man, because your certain favorite star was killed? Would you continue, or is that person just too big? I guess it would depend upon the program.
Yeah.
It's hard to make.
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But talking about programs, War Machine.
Yes.
Now you are a big War fan.
Well,
and you're a big robot fan.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a war fan. Let's clarify.
War movies.
War. I like war movies. Like, in term, let me be specific. Like Saving Private Ryan was a good war movie. I'm not pro war.
No, I know. Come on.
Okay, I know.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, Netflix came out. War Machine. Tell us about it.
Well, Alan Richardson is the star of this, and I asked you the question earlier, who is replacing some of our iconic people that are dying?
That's what I was hinting at earlier, yes.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I mean, he is maybe on the verge of doing that, but he certainly hasn't done anything to qualify him to be of a Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone. You never did answer my question, though. Who do we have? We'll come back.
Well, that's why I waited, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. We'll get into it,
Yeah, well, because...
Tell us about the movie.
I would think of Rock Johnson, Dwayne Johnson, Al Richardson, two come to mind. But War Machine, it came out on March 6th, Netflix. Alan Richardson from Reacher is the star in this program. He is in the army. He's in Afghanistan. It opens up the program where he has to go out into the desert to save a troop or a platoon because they're having he was a mechanic in the army. And he approaches the scene, and there's always that military bravado that they have to kind of show off to the newer troops and yells and say stuff. And they do that. He gets off. Who's the moron that did,
There's got to have a post guy. Hey, check out Polanski over there.
Yeah, exactly. They always have to kind of show off, and that's how they kick this off.
Yeah.
And you think he's actually talking to somebody that would actually get upset with him, and they initially kind of fight, but it turns out that it's his brother.
Yes.
And his brother and his brother really wants him to. The whole gist of it is they serve in the military together, but he wants to do more in the military. He wants him and his brothers to become Rangers. So take their career to the next level, and he wants to do it with his brother. Obviously, they're tight.
Yeah, because they're tight.
And maybe I'm setting this up too much, but so him and his brother, they make a split decision that they're going to do this. He has to kind of coax his brother, Alan Richardson, because Alan's like, I'm an old man now. I don't want this anymore, But his brother talks him into it. He says, okay, if you do it, I'll do it. We'll do it together. And then he fixes their vehicle. He starts walking back to the truck. And I'm not going to go minute by minute of the story, but I'm just trying to set it up. And then incoming happens, yes. And then they kind of go to the Saving Private Ryan. Remember when Tom Hanks was knocked out and shot, and they slow everything down, and he was trying to shoot the tank, and they got the ringing, and that's happening to him. And
they didn't yell medic though.
No, nobody yelled medic on this one. But what you don't see is he actually approached his brother, who wasn't dead, but he was seriously wounded. And the backside of the story is he actually carried his brother to a facilities, but was 100 yards shy and dropped. And therefore, because he didn't make it the entire way, his brother dies. So he lives with that through the rest of the movie. But he does, in his brother's honor, continue to go on to be a ranger. So he goes to ranger school. I'm setting this movie up. And again,
that's fine.
I don't want to get too detailed.
You don't have to.
But Then, of course, he gets into ranger school and he's the lone wolf because he's so scarred from what happened to his brother. So he's all by himself. And then he kind of becomes legendary because people heard about what he had done.
Yes.
And he just wants to be left alone. And he's a very good soldier, flies through all the tasks that a ranger has to do. And I'm watching this though, and I'm so impressed though with, and again, this was fake, this was not really, I'm sure it's not 100%, but I'm sure they went for accuracy and it probably was a lot of the tests that the Rangers have to do. But anyway, to speed this up, the last piece of being a Ranger is they get dumped off into this remote area and they have to come back and they have some commands that they have some tasks that they have to fulfill. And if they don't get ambushed, they have successfully made it to be a Ranger. So they get to the drop-off location. They're supposed to find a plane, and what they end up discovering is they find this plane, and so they assume that they have to blow this thing up, and they do. Come to find out that this plane that they so thought doesn't blow up. It actually kind of wakes it up, and they're like, "What the hell?" Well, Alan, the star of the show, actually sees some shimmering off in the distance and walks over and says, "Wait a minute, we screwed up. This is the plane we were supposed to attack." So they don't know what this thing is.
Yeah.
And then that's where the war machine, this alien thing,
Wakes up.
And then it's kind of cool the way it kind of woke up, and they're just on awe. They're like, "What?" I mean, as you might find yourself like, "What the hell is this thing?" And then it wakes up, and then it starts immediately attacking. Very reminiscent though of movies that have been done: War of the Worlds, Predator, and even a little bit of Alien, all kind of tossed into this film.
So, thoughts? How did it work? Did it not work? Acting? What did you think?
I'm a huge sci-fi guy. I love robots. I love the concept of aliens coming to Earth
Yes.
and trying to destroy us, and the military trying to stop that from happening.
Why don't they ever hug us? Why don't aliens just come down and hang out with us?
Well, they do, if you remember the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Remember To Serve Man?
To Serve Man. It's a cookbook.
It's a cookbook. Another great
Yeah.
episode. We could talk about that too. If you don't know what we're talking about, go to YouTube and find
they
To
know.
Serve Man. They do.
They
People know everything.
Yeah, everyone knows everyone.
Except me. I don't know Mark.
I know.
I don't know
Well, I'm teaching you.
You're teaching me. I can be taught. So anyway.
What'd you think?
War Machine. I don't give it high marks. I thought, you talk about the abuse that Spider-Man takes and they keep on ticking. I thought he and a couple of the others took it in amount,
in amount.
And they still kept going. It's like, there's no way, dude. There's no way,
Yeah.
But he didn't have a lot of parts, but I thought the acting was bad. I thought the storyline was overused, been there, done that before. Even when the alien is looking for the soldiers, it's doing that,
sweep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of it was you knew it was coming types thing. The very end too, where he's got the front end loader.
Yeah.
To battle the alien.
Yeah.
Well, that's very reminiscent of Sigourney Weaver when she battles the alien. Remember, she gets into
the
that
mech suit. Yeah.
Yeah, and she starts fighting him. And I'm like, well, they stole that from.
They did that.
I think what they did was they said, okay, we'll take this, we'll make a movie.
Let's take every movie trope, every cliche, throw it together.
Yes.
So the acting was horrible, dude.
Yeah, it was bad.
Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
What'd you think of him? Horrible. The guy from La Bamba? Horrible.
Yeah, and the funny part is,
they always call you and I was gonna fire you, but you're just too good. It's just everything about it was just the worst.
We're gonna give you a chance to get out. I'll just sign this paper, and he says, if it's okay, I'm gonna go back to my platoon. Get out of my office.
Oh my God.
What happened does Dennis Quaid have like Al Pacino syndrome? His voice is just
oh my God. It's not even him anymore. No, the movie was horrible. The acting was horrible. And in a dumb war movie, you look at Predator, which one of my favorite movies
Yeah,
ever.
that was well done.
But it had a band of different characters. You need some characters. Everyone in this movie had the same uniform. They had the dumb helmets. I don't know why those helmets bugged me. They looked weird. There's too many people. There's too much chaos going on. You have to have characters. You have to have memorable lines, memorable scenes. You're right. Everything, it looked like you just told AI to make a movie, take this movie and just chop it together.
Yeah.
There's no flow to it. The cinematography was horrible. To make a fun war movie, you gotta first just take the premise, okay, this is a dumb robot movie. At least put some humor in there. There's way too much grisly stuff. Like, they're falling down the hill and everyone's snapping bones and, everyone's just getting impaled.
I thought they were going to stop.
Smashing their heads into rocks. And, you got to balance that. In a good movie, you balance, you have comic relief. You have all that grisliness, and then you got to have a joke. Predator, they had the jokes too. Everything was broken up well. You had different characters and they all had different vibes.
You one ugly bastard.
Yeah. You one ugly. Yeah. So every character had a different, you had Billy and, you had the guy reading the comic book in there in Predator. So this movie, the idea, and we both love robots.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the robot. It didn't have any character to it. I mean, even in Predator, that thing had a sense of humor, Mm-hmm. He's like, oh yeah, well,
yeah.
Jokes on you.
Yeah,
jokes on you. And then he starts laughing because he's like, joke's on you, buddy.
Right.
I'm going to nuke you. So this movie, and how do you think Alan did in the movie?
Not to be expected.
I mean, do you think he can carry a movie or carry that movie?
He does such a good job in his Amazon show that I was a little disappointed in his role, I have to admit. But it's kind of funny you bring up that. Remember when he used the nuke in Predator?
Yeah.
They did that in War Machine too. One cool thing about the robot in War Machine was when people were getting out of his range, those tubes would go up, and then he would send out those little nuclear balls.
Yeah.
And thump.
Yeah.
Well, at the end, when Alan Richardson takes him down, the War Machine, all of those things fall out of it. And what he says, holy, and then he has to run and bring that big, like they did.
In every movie,
yeah. So
running away from the explosion,
But I guess the coolest part to me, it was kind of like when the military fought the Martians in L.A. I forget the name of that movie, L.A. Invasion. They at the bitter end of this movie, they don't know what to do with this thing. I kind of liked that, like, he didn't wipe one out and the world is good again. There were thousands more coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they were taking off, but because of the fact that he took one down and he found out that they've got this radiator type thing that you just, hit him
the
at
weakness,
weak spot.
the weakness to the Death Star,
and what's his name? Said, you're going to save a lot of people because of this, But I thought there was too much one sentence lines that they thought would be really cool that were not.
Yes.
So I give it probably out of 10 being, I give it probably I'm going to say about a 5.
Yeah, it was, I didn't like it, dude.
Yeah.
I was going to say 5 or 6. Yeah. 6 is generous.
Now, if you compare it to some of the past movies, Tom Cruise was the original Reacher, and then Alan Richardson took over for Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise didn't fit the bill.
Yeah.
But I do think Tom Cruise is the better actor. If you remember, one of my favorite movies is the remake of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, too. In movies, the sound.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like anything in this movie. Yeah, War of the Worlds, the sound, and especially when you go in the movie theater, sound is so important because a lot of times now people watch on their phone and they're distracted. They watch on TV and they don't get that immersion. The sound is so much, especially in scary movies where they have to set a tone, or an explosion,
and the War Machine actually did have that footsteps, that was Steven Spielberg was the master at that. If you remember Saving Private Ryan, when they were waiting for the Germans, you heard the army tank far ahead of it actually approaching, just getting you, and then the rubble of the town that was exploded would start to shake.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Before that is really cool when you set the stage.
The Jello.
With again, Saving Private Ryan, you hear in the background the squeaky wheel of the
Do you
tank.
remember an Airplane, the Jello, the jiggle?
No.
All right.
No.
Fans will.
Please explain.
No.
No.
That's a little thing you got to look into, man.
Okay.
I can't give it to you all for free.
No. I watched War Machine on the plane on my phone.
Yeah.
So, in fairness to them, was it the complete?
Yeah. Immersion.
But to me, if you put it on Netflix, you don't deserve the immersion. You're just you're like, we don't care. Just pound it out. Can I sidetrack for 1 second?
Yes.
Okay.
You have been the whole show, so that's fine.
I'm sorry. It's called ADHD.
Enjoy.
Where was I going with this? you know who I think invented ADHD, how it came about? I was thinking about this long and hard. They said to me when I was a young kid, "Hey, John, can you recite the alphabet for us?" "Oh, yeah, I can. A. Oh, I'm sorry. H. It's an H. D."
Yeah, that's how you got it. You just
HD.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a funny. That's supposed to be a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
Please put a little thing. This is a joke.
Yeah.
AHD, ADHD.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All
something like that, but funny.
So you're giving it a 5 out of 10.
I want to go back to something.
I'm bringing you back.
I have a very good question I want to ask the two of you here. I was on a plane, and I've been on multiple planes.
Yes.
And I have a question for you. Just because you're sitting by the window.
Yes.
Does that mean you are the authority over when the shade goes up or down? Who's responsible for that?
That's a good question. Like you're saying, the person next to you is say, "Hey, can you pop the window open for me?"
They just seem to think that because they bought that seat, which was no more than mine, that they can just drop it up. I, on a plane, like to watch what's happening at all times. Now, when you're up in the air above the clouds, drop the shade. I don't care. But when we're in takeoff mode, I want to see the runway. I want to see the speed.
Okay.
I want to see my surroundings.
You have a need for speed.
I have a need for speed. But this guy, boom, and you're just like,
did you say something?
I'm like, well, should I? Is it appropriate?
Yeah.
What time was the flight?
The flight was, it was delayed by the way, we were on this plane for 2 hours.
He's asking you what time the flight was.
I'm getting to his answer. I'm forgetting, so I'm buying time. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Got to keep it up.
Yes. See, I like.
Did you tell him to open it up?
Well, there's that awkwardness. It's
so
like
you didn't.
So who's responsible? Can you say, "Sir"?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Leave that up.
Yeah.
Is there like police that'll arrest him?
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
I just think it's kind of rude. It's like, now, if it's at night and the guy's trying to sleep, or a woman,
No.
and they drop it down.
You said 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. I want to see the plane fly.
You should have said that.
You like to see the city, when the plane does that barrel roll.
Yeah.
And you get to see the lights.
Yeah.
The city below. I want to see all that.
Yeah.
He robbed me of that.
Well, that was your fault, I think.
So so you're saying that window belongs to everybody? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to be a little more authoritative then.
All right.
Time. Okay.
Punched out.
All right. Thank you for that side story.
Well, it's just human interests. That's what people. I mean, everybody experiences that on a plane.
All right.
So I give it 5 days. What'd you give it?
Bring it. I was going to say a 5 to 6.
Yeah,
it was going to be lower.
I'm still not convinced you watched it.
Yeah, I did. Quiz me on it. I told you I watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, the acting was horrible. There was no one in there. There was no comic relief. And if there was, I didn't think it was funny. Yeah, it was just, there's too many characters too. There was too many of them. It was chaos, the scenes. Not to rehash it again, but it was.
Well, I don't know what you mean by too many characters, because he was in the Rangers, and you need that group of people to portray being in the Rangers.
It's too much.
Too much?
Yeah, it's just like a crowd. When you're in a party and there's 100 people there, how many people are you talking to? To see what I'm saying? You're in that core group. No matter what group you're in, if it's more than 20, 30 people, you're only talking to a couple people the whole time. Okay. So with the movie too, that you need to zoom in and just have a core couple people. Okay. It's too overwhelming to have it. It's just like ants on an anthill. Too much action.
Okay.
All right, we're done.
That's it?
Thank you. Thank you. We're done.
We're done?
We're done.
So